The convergence of our voices is the song of our beauty. Many voices will speak here, the song woven through diverse notes.
Hello and welcome to Crone Chronicles. Today's guest talks about being a civil celebrant, how she became a stand-up comic, um, and her practice of Siddha Yoga, and many other things. I think you'll enjoy listening to her. Welcome to Genevieve Messenger. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, I love it when you say Genevieve. I was actually named by French Mauritian godparents, but unfortunately, I'm in Australia where everyone says Genevieve. So I love the way you say my name, and Messenger is that's my surname. That's my father's surname. So way before Facebook, let's say.
Ah, okay. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so how did you happen to have godparents from Mauritius, is it?
Yeah. That's a really big story. And that's my origin story, which is quite a big story, because my father was a Catholic priest
Ah.
and my mother, so you weren't expecting this, were you? My mother was a schoolgirl when they met,
Mhm.
so quite controversial beginnings. And my mother had to be a maid while she was pregnant with me. And
Ah.
she was a maid for, first of all, one family and then another family, and they were the Goyards, and they adopted me as their godchild.
Oh, lovely. So
Yeah,
that, yeah.
and I'm French Christian, so
Yeah. So this was in Australia.
yeah, in Australia
Yeah, okay.
in the 60s. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how would you describe yourself?
Oh, um, that's an interesting question. I'll describe myself as, people describe me as, I guess, for want of a better word, spiritual. Like I meditate a lot. I've been seeking out teachers around India and the world. But also I'm very earthy and pragmatic. So I don't believe in woo-woo. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, so I have a hard time calling myself a spiritual person or a spiritual healer, because I always think, oh, people will think that's woo-woo. Um, but I think it's more like before my warm up before this talk, because there's water in the river near my house, was to go and immerse myself in the water,
Ah, yes.
and connect with nature
Hmm. Hmm.
and release what no longer serves me
Yeah.
and honor the ancestors, and the First Nations people, the Wadawurrung people, and Wurundjeri people who, experienced genocide,
Yes.
the
Yes.
advent of colonialism. So, I think not one of those people that talk to the flowers. I'm not a herbalist, anything like that, but I have my own way.
Yes.
And it comes from within. It doesn't come from any teaching, actually.
Hmm.
I
Um,
think, yeah,
yeah. But you do practice yoga.
city yoga
Yeah.
and physical yoga. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
Because uh, that could be considered a tradition. Um,
Yeah, it is a tradition. The city yoga path is definitely a tradition.
hmm.
Um, uh, my teacher is Guru Mai Chitvilasananda, you
Hmm.
know, Swami Chitvilasananda, known as Guru Mai, sorry. Um, Now, that wasn't something that I searched for.
Yeah.
Um, in my 20s, it was quite a confusing time, you know, and there was an ashram around the corner in inner city Melbourne, Fitzroy, which is like a really cool art. suburb in those days, where all the artists went.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was invited by a university friend who said, "You've got to meet this teacher. You've got to feel this energy. Like it's something else. It's out of this world. Like, and it's so joyful."
Hmm.
And in those, that was 1991, and Guru Maya just toured Australia from the US. And anyway, we just started to go as a group and meditate and chant every Saturday night, Kashmir Shaivism, um, and it's an umbrella for all religions and all spirituality, but it's
Hmm.
definitely a path,
Yes.
you know, it's definitely a path. And so that called me a long time ago in my early 20s, and I have phases where it's always in my heart, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't, since COVID, hasn't it changed so much?
Oh, it has, yes.
The ashram's not open as much and all of that, but it's always in my heart. And I do chanting groups online, and I have my own harmonium I like practicing with. And and I feel like in the City Yoga path, they talk about the awakening of the Kundalini energy, the Shakti part,
Hmm.
through the blessing of the Guru. Um, so I know, you know, but it's very personal. So I can talk about it,
Mm.
but it's a very personal experience.
Yeah.
And it's something that I can't explain. I
Hmm.
was, and I was very skeptical for many months before I felt, oh, I, a year later, I'm looking around going, oh, I've actually come here every week for a year. So there must be something in it besides
Yeah.
the chocolate brownies after
Oh.
had really good chocolate brownies. But yeah, and that path is about the grace of the guru, they say, awakens the Shakti part, the Kundalini energy. And
Hmm.
from there, that serpent that's coiled in your base chakra, you know, is kind of traveling up through your energy systems to kind of meet with the divine here. And
Yes.
that's that point of, for want of a better of a word, enlightenment or union with the
Hmm.
divine.
Hmm.
But they don't tell you that the path is very, very challenging, that you can't turn away from the truth of your own being.
Ah, yeah.
You can't hide from yourself, you know, but the rewards of working through, different layers of the ego, of perception, of illusion, there are rewards, through that, which is basically the opening of your own heart,
Yes, it is. Yeah.
and the ability to experience. I've experienced through the City Yoga chanting path many, many blissful states.
Hmm.
I've never taken drugs. I've never taken a synthetic drug. I don't feel a need to. When other people describe what they're feeling, I just say, well, I've reached that. That sounds like what I've reached through meditation
Hmm.
and chanting. Like it's
Yeah.
all available to us.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what I believe,
Yeah.
without feeling like it's like, and again, it's very personal. It's not like, oh, I'm on this path, therefore you should be on this path. I totally believe that we're all called into our own paths, into our own journeys,
Hmm.
and there's no right or wrong there.
True, yeah. But do you use any of these things that you've learned through yoga in your women's circles?
Yes, I do, but I never talk about my path in the women's circle.
Mm.
I never impose it,
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
So the women who come to my circles, well, most of them won't even know I'm on the City Yoga path.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because it's not about imposing a doctrine or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think my women's circles, uh, so so the City Yoga path is very private, and the women's circles aren't doing those practices.
No.
I'll do the Siddha yoga practices with other Siddha yoga people,
Hmm.
but I will never, impose it on my community in a way,
Yeah.
right? But the meditation is there. So yes, it is deeply influenced because I have a belief that the divine dwells within us as us.
Yes.
So what my women's circles is all about is empowering women to listen to themselves,
Mm. Mm.
to go within, to listen to that voice,
Yeah.
to listen to that nudge, to to keep some distance away from the noise of the world, who we should be, how
Hmm.
we should act, how we should think, how we should feel, who we
Yeah.
should be, all the
Hmm.
roles we have to play, and go beyond that into your inner self, into your core of your
Yeah.
being. Who am I? Who am I in all of this?
Yeah. And what are some of the methods that you use within your women's circles other
Yeah,
than
so
meditation?
sorry.
Other than meditation.
Yeah, I don't use meditation so much in the women's
Yeah.
circle,
Yeah.
but I do, but in a certain way. So I'm a tarot reader.
Hmm.
And I do the women's circles on the new moon, right? I just like the cycle of it. And I'm very, you know, I'm very big on intention, the meaning of intention. What does intention mean? It's not a goal setting. It's not attracting, you know, what you want right now.
Yeah.
It's about listening to where is my best self taking me? What are the whispers?
Hmm.
Where is it showing me? Where is it guiding me? You know, so we plant the seeds of intention for the new moon, and always with the moon, there's a tarot card that corresponds with
Yeah.
the sign in the moon. So a Gemini moon, for example, is the lover's card, which
Yeah.
is about choice and pathways.
Hmm.
You know, um, so what I do is I talk about the energy of the new moon, the energy of the tarot card, and then we all pass it around and I talk about the themes of it, and I invite people to have a look at the card and just speak from their heart how the card speaks to them about this month.
Mm.
So the card is a tool
Yeah.
for them to get in touch with what is it that I need to pay attention to for my well-being, for my peace,
Yeah.
for my growth in this month. So we talk about that and we share, and there's always guidelines in a women's circle. We
Hmm.
don't fix each other. We suspend judgment. We're all equal. That's why it's a circle. No
Yes.
one's elevated above the other.
Hmm.
I always say everyone in a circle has the ability to help someone else in that circle, give a hand up,
Hmm.
right? Their wisdom. And we don't give unsolicited advice. We
Ah.
don't say, I think that's really important. Oh, I can fix this for you, or I've got a psychic message that, you just need to tell your youngest child, blah, or, I think those kind of things, people need to work things out for themselves. And people always, I'm a psychic and I read tarot, but it's still through my own lens,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So, um, but, I say you can invite the feedback. Say, look, I've got some feedback for you. Do you mind if I share it?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's the way we speak to each other, which is really important.
Hmm. Hmm. And so
Um,
somebody can say, no, I don't want you to share it.
yeah, that's right. And some
Yeah.
people do.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And I know myself because everything, I know myself because I have experienced, being in a room full of psychics and someone turning around and saying, "Oh, your mother's like this, isn't she?" And just and it's like, and then all of a sudden I'm hit with this. Well, I didn't want to think about that right now. There may
Yeah.
be truth in it, but I don't want to receive that right now.
hmm
I don't need your judgment on me right now.
Yeah.
Um, so does this make sense what I'm saying?
It
Um,
does, yeah. Yeah.
and the other way I get this is the medicine, this is how I really um, uh, get the women into a deep meditative state in the women's circle is that I made a shamanic drum,
hmm
many years ago, with a deer skin through a friend of mine, Erica Bear, who used to just do beautiful workshops like that,
Mm.
out in nature, making your drums, singing together in circle. And one day I just stepped into it. The thing is, it's about being brave, I think. And I just stepped into it and I started beating my drum. And then this song came through me.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the song of healing and it was the song of the meditation. So I sing a meditation through the drum and it's different every time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, so what I do is I meditate before the circle. I think about the theme and I get guidance on what the meditation is, right?
Yeah.
But it's always the same structure. It's always going down, into the forest or by a river, listening to a wise person that appears, asking a question, getting the medicine, and then bringing it back home.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
It's different versions of that
Yeah. Yeah.
based on the moon, based on whether the energy's around making a choice, based on whether the energy's around letting go of a habit, an obstacle within you, based on whether the energy's around emotionally connecting with yourself and a loved one, and getting guidance on how to move forward with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it can be also around practical things like, career guidance, um, uh, you know, pathways, vocations. Um, But I am really amazed about whatever comes through when I
Mm.
beat this drum because it's not me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like my ancestors are walking with me
Yeah.
wherever they are and wherever they come from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that makes me think that all of us have keys inside of us where the ancestors and the women that have come before us are with us,
Yeah. They are.
that we all have it. Everyone has it.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing special. It's not a special gift that's given to me. It's just that I've got out of my own way, basically.
Yeah. A lot of us don't allow it to come through or don't give it the space to come through, perhaps. Yeah.
I think that's it. I think we don't give it the space, and I feel that I live an unconventional life,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in nature. I'm in my city yoga path. I've had a lot of challenges in my life, like most of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. We're not alone in our challenges either.
Yeah.
And, I guess I have given a lot of space to that part of myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's
And
a discipline, meditating every day and
mhm.
listening and tuning in. It's a skill.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. And you moved to the country how long ago?
Yeah. Well, I hate to think of it because then I remember how long I've been here now.
Yeah.
That I'm definitely grown now.
Yeah.
Um, No, I did this really sudden move
Hmm.
where I was living the inner city life in Melbourne, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Drinks with my girlfriends every night. My I work as a celebrant, and
Yeah.
in at that time I was doing a lot of weddings. I was booked out as a wedding celebrant, and and I was renting, and I was working really hard, but I never had any money. It was just like gone.
Yeah.
No. Part of it um, was, not, it was just it was I was undisciplined, I guess. I was like spending it on food. And the other part of it was just that it was just so easy to do. I was like, well, it wasn't like I was, it's a huge earner working for yourself. And then I don't know what happened. Something snapped inside me. I think there was a few things going on in my family as well. And I just came for a drive in this area. I'm in central Victoria, Blackwood, central Victoria. And I came for a drive with a girlfriend, and we went into the general store, and I said, "Is there anything for rent?" And she said, "Yes, there's a house down the road." This was in 2008. $120 a week for three-bedroom cottage, which was cheap in those days.
Ah.
And I just said, "I'm moving.
Mm.
I'm out."
And obviously it was a good move.
It was a good move. It's a good move. I, you know, I'm sure you, I'm sure you connect with being sensitive. When you meditate and you're close to nature, there's sensitivity to it.
Mhm.
So it's kind of more peaceful not having so many, traffic jams and, energy of trams and trains and noises and, um, but so it's been a really good move. It's been a healing move.
Mhm.
Um, and it's what inspired me. Sitting with nature and doing my own self-healing is what inspired me to do the women's circles and my first women's retreat.
Yeah.
It came from that place.
Mhm.
It came from the place of wanting to share what you can receive from nature and the bounty of the natural world, and the consciousness in that world, how it's just there for us to receive.
Mhm. And you had mentioned that you did some stand-up comedy when you were in the city.
I did. I did. My background is theatre, and I did a lot of. So I went to the Victorian College of the Arts in Melbourne, which is, the main arts university, one of the main arts universities in Australia. And I did theatre making. It was called animateuring, but it basically means you direct, write, and create your own theatre, and it's stories. It's
Mhm.
it's going into the community, receiving the stories, and making theatre from it, right? So that
Ah.
I'm getting off track, but so I had that theatre background, and I you know I've always had a bit of a quirky sense of humor, and I thought, okay. And some friends of mine were going to this school called Humorversity, University, with this man called Pete Croft. And he was a great teacher. He was teaching all the stand-up comics in Melbourne at the time. And in those days, that was 2000 and 2001, I think. And it was very male dominated.
Mm.
It was, you could, it was still in Melbourne, they stopped smoking in clubs, in the 2000s, sometimes in the 2000s, but in those days, they still smoked a lot in the clubs. Um, but yeah, I did a routine, and then this woman, who kind of knew me, and she was a headline comedian, and she's an actor in Australia, Bev Killick, her name, and she said, I would like to do a show with you, a comedy show in the comedy festival. And I was like, really? I only did five stand-up gigs at this point. Um, and then because I was confident in, I've always been a song and dance girl. So we called it the Babes of Very Off Broadway. And we made fun of the fact that we were not our kind of petite dance selves anymore,
Yeah.
and we kind of had we kind of put on tutus and dresses and pretended we were amazing dancers and so we had this musical comedy, and in between, and we sang songs, and we changed the lyrics to the songs,
Hmm.
so and like jazz songs and different songs, um and and we did stand up in between, truth, what Pete Croft used to call, you know, it's like a truth stand up.
Hmm.
So you're talking about your life basically,
Hmm.
and I remember one of my lines was, you know, um, my father was a father, but not that kind of father, but like this father, and my mother was a schoolgirl, and and I'm the product of the father and the schoolgirl. So I'm a product of a sexual fantasy. So why did I get fantasy and reality confused? Yeah.
Yeah.
So my comedy was this, you don't have to laugh. My comedy was this, it was basically just psychological type comedy,
Yeah. Yeah.
about being in a dysfunctional family.
Yeah. But yeah, your mother was a single parent, pretty young.
Very young.
Yeah.
Now she's written a book. So my mother's
Ah,
name's Catherine Johns, and she's just had her first book published in her early 70s.
wow.
Um, Hachette, called Maggie. And it's the story, it's my origin story, but it's her story.
Yeah.
So it's the story of my beginnings, but the journey she went through.
Hmm.
So, yeah, she was a single mother, so she had me at 19, but then my dad left the priesthood and joined her later.
Yeah. Ah.
And then I have two sisters. And 18 months later, my sister Natasha was born, and then my sister Julia was born, and they're both artists in Melbourne.
Ah.
Julia's a professional, singer, and she's got her own music studio. She's produced a lot of albums, and Natasha is she's a oh, it's just left me, but she's a site-specific artist.
Ah.
So yeah, so a cross between architecture and sculpture.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, they're both interesting.
Yeah.
And my parents split up when Julia was born,
Oh.
and then it became a very, very complex childhood.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just a complex childhood.
Yeah. Well, we could
If
talk about
if I
that.
open that box, I'll be here all day. But
Yeah.
the story is really interesting that my mother wrote. And my dad's still alive. My dad's 88 in February.
Wow. Yeah. And
Um, yeah, he's not too happy about the book. Um, um, but he has his own career path. He was one of the first celebrants in Australia, and the first person to write a guidebook on celebrancy. So, he's got his own career path,
yes, and so you came by your celebrancy honestly.
really because my dad was doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I grew up with it.
Hmm.
And it was, the first civil celebrants were in the 70s in Australia, and my father, Genevieve Messenger, was part of that group. Um, and I think what happened is that he used to pay me to go and do the music, so in Australia, with civil celebrancy, we lead the world in our own ceremonies because people can get married anytime, any place, and in the manner with a spirituality and religion that they choose. Um, and mostly. celebrants do secular ceremonies.
Hmm.
There's a lot of, interfaith weddings as well. So I used to go along in my 20s and, press, we have the big, speakers with all the big, I had to check all the batteries with the battery tester in those days with
Yeah.
like 10, the CD player and, make sure I press play for the bridal entrance and after I finished my theatre degree and I was a struggling artist, and,
Hmm.
and I looked at Dad and I said, how much do you get for one of these weddings? I can do that. I just did
Yeah.
I graduated with a one-woman show, called The Divine Spark in 97 in VCA. And I was like, well, if I can do a one-woman show, if I can write, direct, and perform a one-woman show, I can do a wedding.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, many of the same skills.
Yeah. Except it's not about you, which
Yeah.
it's not, it's not about me. And that's the big difference. I think some celebrants make it about them still, but I'm
Uh,
very cognizant that I'm a channel. I'm there in presence for the people I'm doing ceremony for.
yeah.
So their essence channels through me through into the ceremony,
Hmm.
not me as the ceremony.
Yes, yes.
Which some people like, but that's not my style.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're coming to a close here. So I'd like to thank you so much for talking to me about your interesting um, events of your life and the things that you do. And
Gail, thanks for listening.
no, it was great. I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to like, share with your friends, and subscribe to Crone Chronicles. See you next time. Bye.